Everybody knows that I'm breaking down. Everybody knows I ain't faking now. Everybody knows my heart's vacant now. Yeah, she hates me now, I made mistakes but now I don't ever wanna be alone. I don't really ever feel at home. On my own, in the zone, that's the only way I know. Feeling low, about to blow back up. Here I won't ever let the doubt creep in. Gotta pop a couple more aspirin. I don't think I'll ever let you in. Easier to break it off as friends. I don't really understand myself. I don't really understand, need help. I don't wanna be left on the shelf. Couldn't even hear me if I yelled. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold. Break down, always feel like I could break now, but I never let it take me to that place now. I won't ever let my thoughts get away now. I got better things to do, picking fate now. I just wanna be the best, call me great now. I don't know if I'm okay or insane now. I remember better days on the playground, hoping I can find my way. Even when I'm feeling down, I fight. Even when I don't know what is right, I'ma pick a side and I'ma take pride. I will decide my fate and I will never let them tell me who I am. If you try to shape me, I'll be damned. Planet on the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NEXXTCAR Racing League here on iRacing. Tonight, the NEXXTCAR Truck Series heads out west for the 1.5-mile track of Kansas Speedway. We are 6 races into the longest season ever in NEXXTCAR history, and already the Truck Series has had 4 different race winners, with Brendan Jenks finding himself heading to victory lane at the drop of the checkered flag 3 times this season. His song, Norman, and Don Francisco have also found themselves heading to victory lane this season. Don Francisco's win at Vegas was his first career win in the NEXXTCAR Truck Series. This season has been full of the unknown, especially when it comes to who is going to victory lane at the end of these races. In addition to that, the booth broadcasts have also been full of the unknown as well. But now, the NEXXTCAR Truck Series is back on its home for racing on the Arnoggle 9 channels. It feels great to be back. And what more of a perfect track for return than the one here tonight? We're going to see 3 wide, 4 wide, and maybe even 5 wide racing tonight. This is the NEXXTCAR Truck Series, and this is Kansas Speedway.
It has to happen. Gotta prove myself. It has to happen.
and gentlemen, welcome back here to the NEXXTCAR Racing League here on the R&Oggle 9 channels. 3 months. 3 months since the last time we have been up here to do the booth broadcast for the NEXXTCAR Truck Series. And ironically, this is also week 7 of season 3. We bid our farewell in season 2 of week 7. Or I'm sorry, week 7 of season 2. So ironically, we left last season in week 7. Well, we are making our return to the truck booth broadcast here in season 3, week 7. So pretty ironic how things are working out, but folks, do not adjust your TVs, don't adjust your internet, because it is true. We are back, and it feels great to be back up here. Huge shout out to Nick Trudeau and Matthew Erickson for stepping up in those 3 months that I was gone, finishing out season 2. Starting out season 3, they did not finish out season 2. They started doing a booth broadcast, picking up where I left off there to start out here in season 3. Nick Trudeau, he will be joining us up here in the booth to round out this season here in season 3. So here pretty soon, he will be joining us up here in the broadcast. So definitely looking forward to that. Hopefully we can feed off of each other. But folks, we are back, and it feels pretty good to be back here in the booth broadcast. I have missed it. I know these drivers have missed it. I've talked to a bunch of them, and the entire time I was gone, there was a bunch of them saying, Ronnie, when are you coming back? Well, at the time, I didn't know when I was coming back. But when it came out last month that, hey, starting June, I'm going back to Sunday, Monday off. So, baby, we are back up here. And then on Monday night, we will be back in the Next Gen Cup cars for the league. So, it feels great to be back just like we were in the old days here of the NEXXTCAR Racing League. But, folks, you can see it. Practice is commencing right now. So let's go ahead and let's get your tower up. These guys have 3.5 minutes left. You can see Matthew Tucker holding strong with that top lap here in practice, with Kelsey, Jenks, Bolander, and Don Francisco wrapping out your top 5. Let's go ahead and get their best lap up and see just how close it is, folks. A 30.74 for Tucker, a 0.75 for Kelsey, 0.76 for Jenks, 0.77 for Bolander, and then Don Francisco, Owens, Dunford, all a 0.78. So, folks, Kansas Speedway, it's only practice, but showing just what this track is worthy of doing for racing. This track is wide. You can see these guys. It's going to be bad fast. It's going to be slick. These guys are slipping and sliding all over the place. So that means we're going to be in for some great racing and a fantastic track to get back up here in the booth broadcast. But we have got a lot of things to learn as this race and the rest of this season progresses. You see a bunch of these names that you notice, but there's also some new names out there as well. You got Martin down there in 17th position. He's made his return. Bloodworth in the 13th position in that 51. You guys know his name from the previous era of NEXXTCAR over on Heat. Well, now Dusty has decided to join iRacing, and he actually joined my final race at Atlanta last season in the booth broadcast. He was in that race, had a fantastic race going, if my memory serves correctly, and then got himself caught up in a couple of incidents late in the race that got him out of that one. But we have got a bunch of new numbers we're going to have to learn. Dunford, he's in the 9 now. Owens, up in the 11. So we have got a lot of new names. Brendan Jenks, we mentioned him in the pre-ceremony, folks. 3 times he has went to victory lane at the end of these races this season. This is week number 7 of the longest season ever in NEXXTCAR history. And Jenks, the rookie, has found himself heading to victory lane 3 times out of 6 races completed this season. This is week number 7, and these guys have just over a minute left here in practice, folks. We are in for a great race tonight. I have a good feeling about. 18 drivers right now have put down a lap time here. We are currently looking at 19 in the queue. So maybe a couple more will join. The Truck Series has been averaging between 25 and 30 drivers per race this season, so those numbers are looking absolutely fantastic. But man, have I said it feels great to be back in the booth broadcast? But I want to give a huge shout out to Nick and Erickson. Especially Nick. Nick he's a very quiet guy, and for him to step out of that comfort zone and come up and do the booth broadcast while I was gone, him and Erickson, huge shout out to those guys. absolutely huge shout out because they provided a broadcast that these drivers could go back and watch, and they rose to the challenge. It is not easy by any means to do this, and they stepped up. They did a good job, and they provided a booth broadcast for these guys, but definitely ready to get back into this one, folks. But you can see it, 10 seconds left in practice, and it looks like it is going to go the way of Matthew Tucker in that 25 truck. Now, that's the easy part, folks. The hard part is coming up next. 000 on the clock. It is qualifying time for the NEXXTCAR Truck Series here at Kansas. These drivers are going to have their hands full. You see it. The trucks have disappeared. The tower is going to go blank. Let's put it away. Let's go ahead and get out your race information for tonight here in Season 3, Week 7 at Kansas Speedway in the We Are Back 165 presented by HVAC Designs and W Energy. HVAC Designs coming back on board for Season 3 here. This is their second full-time season sponsoring the NEXXTCAR Truck Series. If you guys don't know what HVAC Designs is, well, you've heard his name multiple times here in the beginning here of this broadcast. Matthew Erickson. He paints a bunch of these beautiful trucks and next-gen cup cars that you're going to see tomorrow night out here at Kansas, but he is the one and only painter of the NEXXTCAR Racing League, and he is also our sponsor in HVAC Designs. Absolutely beautiful job that Matt always does on every single truck. He puts his mind to painting, and if you guys are interested in getting an iRacing vehicle painted by him, well, comment down below, and I will send you his way. And W Energy coming on board. I looked it up. They are coming back on board for the 7th consecutive season. So great to have W Energy back on there. But let's get to your track information, folks. This 1.5-mile track, 66 degrees. You can see it. The sun is gone. The lights are on. It's nighttime, baby. 8-mile-an-hour wind, partly cloudy skies with a 59% humidity. So these drivers are going to have their hands full tonight. That track temperature, 68 degrees. So it's on a little bit of the cool side, but these drivers are going to get that fake confidence on those new tires when the track is pretty cool like that. That means this track is going to have a ton of grip. But then once those tires start fading, well, that grip goes away. So these drivers are going to have their hands full once as this race progresses. But 66-degree air temperature with a 68-degree track temp here in Kansas City. Absolutely love this track. It's wide. It's multi-lane. You got your low line. You got your high line. You got your 2 middle lanes. We're going to see 3 wide, 4 wide, and potentially, especially through the front dog leg here at the start-finish line, you're going to see guys using that to their advantage, and you might just see a miracle of 5 wide racing here at Kansas. This track is fast. This track is wide. These drivers, they're going to have their hands full all around this track. But a couple of guys, I believe, have put down a couple of qualifying laps. Let's go ahead and get your ticker up. Matthew Tucker gonna be sitting at the pole right now. These guys still have 2 minutes left to qualify, but you can see it right there, folks. Matthew Tucker, Austin Schultz, right now with 2 minutes left, are going to make up your front row here at Kansas Speedway. Then you got Jenks, Don Francisco, and Chandler rounding out your top 5. All right, sorry about the quietness there. I was making sure, I was checking to see if Nick had joined the booth Discord yet. He has not, so we're going to progress here with a minute and a half left here in qualifying. Now, that has stayed the same in our absence. You got the 10 minutes for the qualifying, but the first 5 minutes goes towards qualifying to put down 2 laps. The second half, those last 5 minutes, goes towards the driver's meeting or any other questions these drivers may have. So That is the big difference there. As you can see right above the ticker, or I'm sorry, the tower, we had a big flock of birds flying, but we talked about it. The sun is down. The lights are shining bright here in Kansas. These guys just over 30 seconds remaining, and it remains Tucker and Schultz atop the leaderboard here in qualifying. Nick said he will be joining here in a couple minutes. Hopefully he can make it before the green flag drops. But folks, that is going to wrap up your qualifying session here for week 7 here in season 3 of the NEXXTCAR Truck Series. Matthew Tucker, Austin Schultz, 2 friends making up that front row here tonight. And then the rest of your top 5, Jenks, Don Francisco, and Chandler, rounding out your top 5. But folks, we've talked about it. 6 races completed this season. Jenks heading to victory lane for 3 of them. Let's give you a quick recap here of this season, as obviously we have not been there. Robert Assault got things started off with a high note at Daytona, heading to victory lane. Brendan Jenks in Homestead in week 2. Sorry, excuse me about that. I'm still trying to recover from this cold, flu, whatever I have. I've had it for about a month now, and it's just barely hanging on. But Norman getting back to his old ways of season 2, finding his way to victory lane for his only time this season at Auto Club. And then Nicholas Don Francisco at Vegas. We talked about it. Nicholas Don Francisco has come so close so many times to heading to victory lane for the first time in his iRacing career here in NEXXTCAR. Well, he was finally able to get it done at Vegas, and then Brendan Jenks has gone back-to-back victory lane trips up north in Canada, and then last week at Nashville. But folks, Nick Trudeau has entered the building. Nick, what is going on, man?
Well, not much, Ronnie. How are you?
I'm good, brother. It feels great to be back, man. Go ahead and give us a quick recap of, obviously, you and Matthew Erickson have stepped up this season, and you guys did the first 6 races here for the booth. Go ahead and give us a quick recap of just how those first 6 races went, because obviously I was not there.
Yeah, so it's been good racing overall. The first couple weeks on my end, it was difficult to learn everything that you've been doing. But the racing overall has been really good. Really great battles. And I think mostly Dunford, Dunford's been up there. Ronnie Norman and Jenks is a part-timer, but he's been running most of the races. So he's more of a full-time person. And basically Jenks and Norman have been kind of running the whole field up till this point. So they're both on Fifth Gear Racing, which is my team, and I'm glad to have them on board. But they've been kind of stinking up the show here. But I think Kansas is a good track to kind of even out the field. It's kind of a 1-lane track, kind of right up against the wall, but should be pretty good racing. And it looks like Tuck and Schultz are pretty quick tonight already, so should be a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. And one guy I want to talk about, and I was just talking about right before you joined, and that is Nicholas Don Francisco. So many times he has come so close to heading to victory lane. In my final race, that's the big one that sticks out, Atlanta, last season in week 7. He was inches from getting that first elusive win, but finally getting it done here in season 3 at Vegas for his first career win here in the NEXXTCAR Truck Series. It was a long time coming for Don Francisco.
Yeah, it was. It was glad to see him run up front and be quick and get that first win. It's very hard to come by. You spend a few seasons trying to get your first win, and it gets frustrating after a while. No, the field is it's so hard to just run even top 5 some nights. So for him to get his first win, get that monkey off his back, and right now he's sitting 4th in qualifying, not too far from the pole. So he's right there, and I think he has a shot at Kansas, and I think he'd be quick on the 1.5 miles.
Absolutely. Kansas Speedway. We have got 21 guys in tonight's race. 17 have put down a qualifying lap, Nick, but I've talked about it a couple times here tonight. Kansas Speedway, it's fast, it's slick, but most importantly, it is wide. You've got that low line you can run. You've got that high line, the Kyle Larson line per se, up against the wall. Then you've got possibly 2 middle lines through these corners. So these drivers, this is going to be a great one to watch. This has been one of those races, this one in Auto Club, that has provided some of the best racing we have seen in the Truck Series in seasons 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely. You can go back to Auto Club, and it's just there's so many lanes at that track. For this track, I think the bottom line isn't the best one. The top line just has so much momentum coming off the corner. So you need to kind of run middle, and then probably later in the run move up to the high side, right up against the wall. Use that Kyle Larson line and just get as much momentum as you can. I came close to winning here last season in the Cup, and fuel kind of messed up my chances of that, and Ronnie Norman won the Cup side. But I was running right up with him, and it was fun, just right up against the wall the whole race, trying to save some tire, and obviously the fuel bit me. So looking forward to this race. I think passing will be kind of difficult. So I think track position is going to be really big. You want to be up front, stay up front, and try to hold off some guys.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and get your starting grid up for tonight's race. Matthew Tucker is going to grab the pole tonight with Austin Schultz starting in second. Nick, do you have the grid up on your screen, buddy?
Yes, I do.
All right, take row 2.
Row 2, Jenks on the inside running 3rd, and then Don Francisco qualified 4th in the 48.
Row number 3 is going to go to the way of David Chandler in that Bud Light number 1. Dusty Bloodworth making his return. He's going to be on the outside of row number 3.
And then Brandon Dunford on the inside, qualified 8th, Alberto Ibar in 7th and Dunford 8th.
Yes, sir. And then Norman in 9th with his song wrapping up your top 10.
Running 11th, you got Larson, and then 12th, Steve Bocock in the 12.
Another rookie to the NEXXTCAR Truck Series, David Smith, is going to grab that 13th position with Cole Owens in 14th.
Running 15th and 19 of Martin, and the 20 of Cole Larson.
All right, I'm going to run through here real quick. That way we can get down there and interview Matt Tucker. But Stephen Henning, 17th. Peyton Tullock, 18th. Toby Kelsey, 19th. Andrew Belander, 20th. And Christopher Thomas going to round out the field there in 21st. But, folks, let's go ahead and let's go down there and let's interview your pole sitter, Matthew Tucker, in that number 25 W Chevy Silverado. Matthew Tucker, it's on you. You got me, buddy.
The man, the myth, the legend. How's it going, bud?
It is going good. It is going good, brother. Grabbing the pole for tonight's race here at Kansas. That was the easy part. Now's the hard part.
Yeah, it was nice to get the pole. Gonna try to go put on a show for you if it being your first race back. So try to keep it up front all night for you, and good luck to you with your broadcast. So glad to have you back.
I appreciate it, buddy. Y'all getting ready to go green this time? Yes, they are.
Yes.
All right, folks, well, the pace truck's going to hook that hard left onto pit lane. Green flag's going to be in the air for the first time tonight here at Kansas Speedway. And, Nick, what a start Tucker just got there on that one.
Yeah, big jump on the inside, but he's got a mirror full, that 81 right now.
Yes, sir, he does. At 81, the rookie, three-time winner this season, Brendan Jenks on that inside. But now the 56 is behind that 25 with the one of David Chandler creeping up on that inside back there in the 5th position.
Yeah, David Chandler moving up quickly, looking at third spot already. Don Francisco falling back position or so. And the 81 and the 25 just kind of swap positions, and they're going to be side by side.
Yes, sir. And then further back, we got 3 wide. Well, it was 3 wide there for a quick second with Don Francisco on the outside. Schultz was underneath. But now the field, we talked about it, Nick. This track is wide. These guys fanning out, trying to find which lane is the fastest here on these fresh tires, trying to make up as many positions as they can here at the drop of this green flag. Here comes the 51 of Bloodworth, trying to creep his way up inside the top 5, currently in the 6th, but underneath the 48.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I think people just with fresh tires are able to hook the bottom a little better and trying to make up some ground. But I think as the field gets strung out here, you're going to see people move to the high side more and more. That's going to be the strong line throughout the whole run.
Absolutely. Tucker, he has cleared the 81 of Jenks, so now looking to set sail here as they come around to complete lap 3 of 110. 165 miles tonight here at this 1.5-mile track. It's early. Still a very long way to go for these drivers tonight. Norman, let's talk about him real quick, Nick. Back there in the 10th position, coming off a double championship season in season 2. He got it done in the Truck Series and the Cup Series. Well, this season, he's only been to victory lane 1 time here in the Truck Series.
Yeah, he's been having good runs. I think Jenks has kind of stunk up the show on him a little bit and taken some wins away. They've been going 1-2 in a lot of these races. So I think he would have more wins if it wasn't for that 81 truck, but they've been nose to tail and kind of.
Oh, sorry, we got our first crash. Dunford's going to get hooked into the outside wall. Dunford in the brand new number 9. Well, that truck is not going to be looking brand new here on lap number 5. The Toyota is going to get hooked into that outside wall. Let's back it up and see what exactly transpired in that one, as now he's flying up through the field, possibly looking for someone here. Nope, looks like he's just going to tuck in line there behind the 33. I thought maybe, well, maybe not.
Yeah, he just got turned down the straight. I think someone just got a run and then just hooked him. And then he went around and the 7 had nowhere to go. Got a lot of front nose damage on that 7 truck.
Yeah, I don't know if he really got hooked. I think he more of thought he was clear. Let's see what the 50. Yeah, the 9. They kind of met in the middle there, the 51 and the 9.
Yeah, there's been a few instances, this season of just people just getting into one another, just meeting in the middle. And I think it's just hard racing, trying to get every spot they can right now.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're going to go on the HVAC Designs blimp. I think the 51 maybe got some air taken off. Oh, the 7, just like you said, nowhere to go, right in the back of the 9. But yeah, I think the 51, he just, kind of like we saw Brad Keselowski do a couple weeks ago on that outside line there at the Coke 600, just got loose, on that high line, and just kind of along for the ride there a little bit for the 9. But yeah, definitely not the way that Dunford has wanted the race to start here tonight, as he is sitting on pit lane 7 laps into this one. But right now, Tucker and Jenks still holding on to that first and second position. Chandler up to 3rd. Schultz from 2nd back to 4th. And Don Francisco holding strong in that 5th position. Right now, your biggest mover of the race, just 7 laps in, is going to go to the way of Christopher Thomas in that Grady White Boats number 5 Chevy Silverado, plus 11 since the drop of the green flag. That is a pretty good start to this race, Nick.
Yeah, he's getting the job done early, trying to get some track position. And one thing I want to point out, Robert Asong hasn't run in a few weeks, and he's up in 6th position, and then Ronnie's running 7th. So those guys, I'm surprised to see Ronnie so far back. Usually he's in the top 5, and I think he'll make his way up there, no doubt about it. I don't know if he's saving tire or had some issues in qualifying, but just surprised to see him start even that far back.
Yeah, and that is an absolutely beautiful number 8 Ford F-150 that his song is driving from Westland, Michigan. That Craftsman truck looking great out there under the lights here of Kansas. But you mentioned it. You know, we just talked about him. Ronnie Norman not really having the success that he is used to having from last season. I mean, the man looked like he was winning everything but the lottery last season. You know, the only race that you can really say he truly made a mistake at, Nick, was Canadian Tire. The man led the most laps, and then in the closing laps of that one, threw it all away. But besides the lottery, Ronnie Norman was winning everything.
Yeah, like I said, I think the 81 has been kind of stinking up the show a bit, and he's been just as fast as Ronnie in most of these races. So I think that 6 would probably be having 4 or 5 wins on the season. But I think Jenks is just as strong as him, and has a really good truck. Not to take anything away from Ronnie, I think he's just as quick as last season. But also, I think some guys, they're getting better as we go along here. We're in season 3. Now, people are figuring out how to run these trucks. And I think that championship is just going to be tougher and tougher to win every single season. So he's going to have to step it up here, and I think he will.
Absolutely. And one guy, you mentioned it, stepping up and improving. And I want to throw this guy out there as the lights are off on that pace truck. We are getting ready to go back racing this time, but Alberto Abar in that Toyota from Lynchburg, Virginia. The man has stepped it up this season. Even Steve Bocock, he's only able to race in the truck series, but he has improved tremendously from season 1 to where we are now. And it is absolutely amazing to see. Just like you guys improved in the booth each week. You know, I'll be honest, Nick, that first race at Daytona, it was a little rough, but it's that's expected in your first outing. But you guys improved week after week, just like these guys are doing out on the track. So, whether you're doing the broadcast or back behind the wheel, it is all about improving week after week.
Well, even Alberto he's run, I think every series, and he's improved in every single one.
I was wondering where Jenks was. He disappeared for a good probably 5 seconds there, but green flag's back in the air for the first restart of the night here on lap 10. Yeah, that was scary. I'm not sure if Jenks disappeared on your screen.
No, it just stopped on the pace truck when the pace truck cut down, but I still have the 81 up, so.
Yep, he's back.
But that 13 truck, he's improved in all the series, and he's been giving me a run for my money in some of the other series. So it's good to see people improve every single season, and definitely makes not just my life harder, but everyone else's life so much harder to even get a win. So it's good to see that.
Oh, absolutely. And we have got a new leader in town, David Chandler, in the number 1. It's just barely, maybe not going to clear Jenks out of 2. That was some tight racing there coming down the backstretch, but side by side, they head down into turn number 3. 1 inside, 81 outside, and that could open up the door for the 25 of Tucker, but Chandler's going to clear him this time out of 4.
Yeah, I think that one truck is definitely strong on the short run, just right on the white line and painting it. And I think he overdrove one a little bit, but he still gets a good run off of turn 2 and starts pulling away from the 81.
Yeah, absolutely. And 81 got down on that apron that last time right there through 1 and 2. Definitely not what you want to do. And you can see that has opened up the door for Tucker and his song in the 25 and 8. Don Francisco just under a second back in 5th. But here comes Norman. We talked about him looking to the outside, crossing it back onto the apron here to start lap 13. The first 7 guys, single file. And then the back of the field, background, Cole Owens in the 11 on back. It is all mayhem. Side by side, the 12 and the 17 teammates in the American Defenders Racing Team. Oh, barely clears the 11 on the 51. That was some tight racing there. We just thought, man, these guys are keeping it tight out of 2. 51's going to go back to the inside of the 11. But Owens making his return here in that 11 truck on the outside of Bloodworth.
I'm surprised these guys are still just hugging the bottom, running middle, and haven't moved to the top yet. I don't know if that'll come in a bit later. I don't know if it's too early yet, but surprised they're still hugging that bottom line.
Absolutely. More side-by-side racing up front. We got the two Larsons, JD and Cole Larson, side-by-side crossover move to 18. The 20 is going to throw a huge block at the line, but the two Larsons, father and son, side-by-side that last lap. And here comes Christopher Thomas saying, hey, boys, I want in on this action as well. Here he comes up behind the 18. You know, we talked about it. Excuse me, Christopher Thomas, the biggest mover of the race right now, still plus 12 positions and looking for
Ronnie
more
Norman up
on
the wall.
Inside of, yeah, you mentioned it, Norman and Larson there. So looking for a little bit of 2-for-1 there.
Ronnie Norman got in the wall in the middle of 3 and 4 and has fallen back.
Yeah, you mentioned it. No one's running that high line. Well, it looks like that 6 truck is the first one to go up there. And if the rubber isn't there, you got to be a little easier up there right now, a little patient. Well, maybe Ronnie Norman overstepped the boundary, and you mentioned it, putting it into the outside wall there on lap 15.
Yeah, just uncharacteristic of him. But I think that's part of it is there's no one running up there right now, and probably no rubber at all, and he just overstepped that boundary a little bit and gotten into the wall a little bit, but I think he's all right. Nose still looks good on the truck, and he'll probably make up some ground the longer this run goes on.
Yes, sir. The gap just under half a second between Chandler and Tucker. One caution so far here in the first 18 laps, with bumper to bumper, Schultz and Jenks. I'm sorry, not Schultz, but Hasong and Jenks, rather. The 8 and 81, Craftsman versus Milwaukee, the battle of the tools, the battle of the Chevy and Toyota. Right now, the Craftsman 8 of Hasong leading the way over Jenks, but Jenks not backing down from this battle, peeking to the inside as they're going to come out of turn number 4, down into the tri-oval. Jenks using the short line down there on that tri-oval, but Nick, you got to be careful doing that. It's not as rough as Vegas with those bumps, but you have got to be extremely careful using that apron.
Yeah, it gets you really loose, just the transition from the track to the apron. But no, try to take the shortest way you can. Those guys are teammates, even though they're different manufacturers. They are teammates on Fifth Gear Racing, and I think they're going to give each other enough room, and that 81 does get by that 8.
Oh, that was tight between Schultz and Don Francisco there heading into turn number 1. I want to talk about Schultz real quick. You see his paint there, Owens ceramic coating and painting. Well, Owens has jumped on board with the sponsorship of this league, and he is now a full-time sponsor. They're going to go 3 wide here, but he is a full-time sponsor of the NEXXTCAR Cup Series, so barely cleared the 8. The 8 maybe not happy with that, as now he is all over the back bumper of the 56 heading into 1.
Yeah, that sponsorship is huge, along with HVAC Designs, with Ericsson jumping on board again, sponsoring a few of the series. They're kind of splitting, I think, the truck series with both sponsors, and I think Owens was supposed to be on the late model series too, but having trouble filling enough guys and the attendance on that series right now. But really appreciate just him sponsoring and getting the money to the league and helping us out, and giving back to all these drivers.
Not to cut you off, but a truck that is in absolute danger right now is the 8 of Hasong. He is in threat of falling outside the top 10 as Norman's going to push up right there. That's going to open up the door for the 5, but he was just battling for that 3rd position with Jenks. Well, I'm not sure if maybe he did the same thing as Norman and, pushed the boundary a little too far on that high line, but he has fallen all the way from 3rd to 8th in that Craftsman truck. So that the 8 truck of Hasong is definitely not on the right move here on lap 23. But now here comes Norman looking to the inside.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to the 8 there, but I don't know if he's using up his stuff more than others or what. But he's definitely fallen back, and these guys are definitely racing hard. It won't surprise me if they're using more of the truck than they want to right now, just trying to get track position.
And things are really starting to heat up front. Nick Tucker has cut it down from over half a second down to just 0.35 seconds. Jenks now just over half a second back at Chandler. 25 laps in, you got to think these tires may be starting to fall off a little bit here. That track temp, I mean, let's get your weather up here. That track temperature is still just 69 degrees. So this track very much on the cool side. So this track has got a lot of grip in it. But that provides some false confidence in these tires, Nick. You know, once you, Chandler down on the apron, maybe signaling, coming to pit road this time. Nope, he's going to go to the outside. That's usually the cue of coming to pit road when you go down towards the apron like that, but he's going to carry it up the outside. I think maybe just trying to break the wake of the draft for Tucker.
Yeah, the grip is obviously a really good thing to have with a cool track, but with that comes, are you overheating the right front? And that's one thing that you have to be cautious of. You have all that grip and you're like, oh, right, this truck is handling awesome. Like, I'm just going to push it. But I think that one is kind of falling back now, and he's got a mirror full of Tuck and Jenks. And I think that right front is kind of going away, and these other two probably save some tire.
Yeah, not only that, I was on board him there, and he pushed it a little too far there in 3 and 4, and he had to jump out of the gas. And here at a track like Kansas, Nick, it is all about momentum. And he had to jump out of that gas, and you see now the 81 taking the draft off the 25 and the 1. He's going to go to the inside of the 25 for second. But, you saw the big momentum change there when the 1 of Chandler had to lift. Well, the 25 and the 81 closed up immediately, and then the 81 taking full advantage of the draft off of both those guys. Well, now Tucker is going to be looking to do the exact same thing down the backstretch this time. All 3 drivers running that inside line down on the white line, trying to possibly get what they can off of each other. But now you got to start thinking, I mean, you're like you mentioned, that right front tire, Nick, is going to be fading. It's going to be falling. Well, you can't afford to run these corners right behind the guy in front of you in their dirty air, in their draft. So I'm surprised to see those 3 drivers as Norman, big save off of 4. I'm surprised to see these drivers aren't trying to figure out that high line right now, as now Tucker goes up there. But these drivers have got to try and find a way to get out from behind each other so that they can maybe make a move on one another and not ride into train tracks of the other.
Yeah, it's tough because you want to be in their draft down the straight, but I think these guys have to find another line to try to get out of that draft, and it's just going to make your truck push a lot more if you're right behind that truck. And like you said, it's all about momentum. So if you run that high line, you're going to get a lot more momentum if you can keep the truck off the wall. So it's kind of it's a game of no risk versus reward. You might get more reward of saving that right front, but you got to stay out of the wall too. So I think the 81 has been kind of king of saving the tires for when they're needed later in the run, and I think we're going to see that come into play very shortly.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and jump inside the cockpit of that number 17 Chevy Silverado of Peyton Tulloch. He has got 2 guys. They were battling side by side right in front of him. The 18 and the 13 were battling side by side in front of him, but of course, as we jump inside to see his view, well, they get it all sorted out. But you can see now more drivers on that high line. Peyton Tulloch with a power move to the outside of the 18. He's going to take the full momentum. He is going to clear the 18. Maybe not, as he's going to go to the short end of the way around the tri-oval. He will clear the 18, but now Alberto Ibar looking to take it back. But, Nick, let's talk about Dunford, man. He was up inside the top 10 before he got turned into that outside wall, but now he is back there running in the 20th position. Smart move by that 9, though. Not as much damage as you would expect, or that maybe he knew he didn't have. Saving that one faster pair. You can see the hood on that thing all bunched up.
Yeah.
The right side, the left quarter panel, left rear quarter panel, is pushed in. But a huge heads-up move by Dunford in that 9. Not using that faster pair. Obviously, yes, that truck is way off pace, but huge heads-up move by him to not use that faster pair and save it for these closing laps of 110.
Yeah, it's still early in the race. Hopefully he doesn't fall too far behind and go a lap down, but no, save it for later in the race when you might need it. Kind of stay out of trouble here and just run your race and hopefully stay in front of these leaders.
Absolutely. We got 4 drivers you could throw a blanket over. 5, 51 in the front row, the 17 and the 20 in the second row. 2 by 2. They try to get it figured out through 1 and 2, and here comes Alberto to join the mess. Let's jump inside the cockpit of Alberto Abar's number 13 U.S. Army Toyota Tundra. Well, the 5's coming to pit road. I don't think anybody expected that one. The 20's going to cut the nose off.
Tuck just came down pit road as well. 81 grabbed the lead, and Ronnie Norman is reeling in the leaders now, running that high side.
I don't think Alberto was expecting. Oh, the 51's up into the wall out of turn 2. That's going to stack up the 20 and the 13. The 13 of Abar is going to use his mind, not force it 3 wide there. Just lift off the gas and live to see another lap here at Kansas. But Jenks, the 81, coming to pit road this time. He is indeed on pit road. Someone else just came to pit road as well. Christopher Thomas back on pit road. I wonder if the 5 did not get a speeding penalty.
Probably got a speeding penalty coming down, and I expect these leaders...
No, he's going back into his box.
Really? One's coming down now?
Back-to-back laps of Christopher Thomas coming down pit road. Norman, your leader in the number 6 FanDuel Ford F-150, has yet to make his pit stop here on lap 37. Bolander, he's made his stop. I'm sorry, he did not make his stop this round. A lot of these guys, the last time they pitted was on lap 6, Nick, under that first caution. So these guys can go just a little bit longer than these other guys. So it's going to be interesting to see just how these different strategies play out here in this race.
Yeah, just knowing Ronnie, I think he's playing the long game here. Being in chats with him during the race, he's definitely looking at that 110 mark and seeing what the fuel's like. So they're probably around, like, maybe with the 1.5 miles at 80% fuel, maybe around 35 to 40 laps of fuel. He's probably coming down now. He doesn't want to lose too much ground to the leaders that already pitted.
Yep, you nailed it. The 6, hooking that hard left. This is a very interesting pit road to get onto. It might look simple. It might look easy, but you have got a lot of danger around you coming onto pit road. You can't get on that apron like you want to do, like at some other tracks. You've got to wait to that last second, just like you saw Norman do, but it's a very aggressive change from the banking to that apron to get on pit road. So you got to be careful of that. You got to make sure the guy behind you is well aware and does not run you over, because like I said, you got to slow down up there in the racing groove on that white line. You can't get on that apron to slow down. So this pit road could, just like Atlanta, Nick, could prove to be a deciding factor in this race.
Yeah, I think it probably will. Speeding penalties or guys spinning it coming on pit road. You really got to be careful with the transition between the track and coming down.
Absolutely. Payne to luck, and that 17 is going to work his way up the 3rd in the midst of all these pit strategy cycles. But from Greenville, Tennessee, the Bent Creek Kennels Chevy Silverado. That is the kennels that his parents own. They've got a bunch of puppies for sale. So if you're interested in some puppies, comment down below, and I will... get you in contact with Peyton so he can forward you onto the Creek Kennels But definitely some cute puppies for sale. So if you're interested in any different breeds, make sure you reach out to him or I, and he will get you pointed in the right direction. But up to third here in that Chevy Silverado in the midst of the pit cycles. A-Bar up to fourth, and Bloodworth wrapping up your top 5.
We'll just start putting puppy promos in between stage breaks or something.
Don't tempt me with a good time. I'll put a picture of Loki up there. You want a cute dog with the cutest underbite? Come contact me. Apparently I know how to find a dog with an underbite and looks cute. But Andrew Bolander, last pitted on lap 6 under that first caution. Everyone from first back to 8th pitted on lap 6, with David Smith in the 7 pitting on lap 8. So from first to 8th, all pitted on lap 6, and then Smith was 8th, and then 10th on back. That is Jenks on back, as you see Bloodworth and Smith making their way to pit road. All have pitted under this last pit cycle. So now you've got 2 guys, Nick, that pitted on lap 6 and 8. What does this mean for Bolander, Kelsey, Tulloch, A-Bar, Larson, Bocock, and Martin?
It's tough to say. I think they're, again, like Ronnie, playing the fuel game a little bit. They're probably banking that it's going to go green, and a lot of these races this season have gone long green flag runs, cautions early, and then it's just green flag racing the whole way. So they're probably banking on that. And with the extra stop at the beginning, giving them a little extra fuel, they can probably make it on maybe just one more stop after this. And Bolander's coming down now, so they'll probably put them at around 80 to 85 on fuel, and then they're good to go. So
yeah, and everyone that had to pit all, in that first cycle on lap 35, they're gonna possibly have to make an additional stop unless we get a big ration of cautions, which, you mentioned it. I don't know how the Truck Series does it. They did it in season 1. They did it in season 2. But these guys, they'll start out the race early with the caution, just like they did tonight. Maybe throw in 2 or 3 other cautions in the first 15 laps. And then they'll go the next 100 laps without a single caution. And then at the end of the race, they'll get a caution with like 10 or 15 to go. And then we'll see the best racing ever. I don't know how the Truck Series does it, but it's in these drivers' DNA apparently to, they just push it hard on those fresh tires, those cold tires, those slick tires. And then the middle of the race is absolutely fantastic. But you mentioned it, the 4 of, on pit road.
yeah, pretty much everyone 1 through 7 that took that extra stop at the beginning has pitted. And then Jenks is back into the lead with David Chandler right on his back bumper, with Tucker not too far behind, and Norman only a second and a half behind those guys. So he'll probably close the gap the longer this run goes too.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, let's just take a look, He fell all the way back to 20th. Bolander, that is. Fell all the way back to 20th, a lap down. So those guys running as long as they did, yeah, it's going to equal itself out here. Even if we do get a caution here, Owens, Bloodworth, Bolander, all 1 lap down. But, But yeah, that's just, running those old tires. That is exactly what the difference is. But now we got the lap traffic of the 19 of Martin playing a factor in the leaders' battle for the lead. Chandler's going to go back to the point with Jenks and Tucker right behind him, hot on his tail.
Yeah, really great battle for the lead right now. Between the 19's kind of getting in the way of that 81 right now, but they'll probably close the gap how good the 81 is with saving some tire. I'm trying to figure out like the pit strategy here with, I think they pitted around 35, 40 or so. So they could probably go till 75-ish. It's really putting them close at the 110 mark. So they're probably going to have to save some fuel to make it a 1 more stop and not get behind these other guys that are a lap down right now.
We are getting word Dusty Bloodworth speeding on pit road. Now 2 laps down in 21st position in that 51 Menards Toyota Tundra. But, man, that 19, he is not going away. You saw Chandler pass him. Well, then Martin came right back at him, got that lap back. So he is the last truck at the tail end of the lead lap. So, you know, he does have fresher tires than David Chandler does. Chandler last pitted on lap 36 while Martin came in on lap 45. Yes, it doesn't sound like much, but 9 laps is going to make a huge difference. As now you can see the 19, especially with that clean air, as there's a big gap to the guy in front of him. Those tires are going to make a huge difference, those 9 laps. So Chandler finding out that Martin's not going to be one of those drivers that, hey, you might be the leader, I'm just going to pull over and let you go. No, sir, I'm going to battle you till the end.
Oh, I'm sure.
And he has absolutely every right to, you know, to stay on that lead lap to fight for it. He has every right to go up there and battle these guys.
And I think that's been some talk of some of these races. No, lap cars are just people that shouldn't be battling each other, but no, they have every right to battle each other. You know, he's trying to stay on the lead lap here, and no, rightfully so. He should be able to do that, and give Chandler a hard time about it. I think it happened last week that, I think Jenks got into someone that was kind of holding him up, or actually, I think it was possibly Larson holding him up, and turned him around. So it's one of those things that it's a racing deal. You try to get around that lap car, or someone is just slower, and it's been a topic of discussion. People want to race hard, but there's a respect factor too that you have to take into account.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just like everything else in life as we're riding along heading here, going through 1 and 2, but it's always a tale of 2 perspectives. To the leader, you're in the wrong for battling to keep your lap, as now Alberto Abar is going to look to his inside. You're in the wrong. If you're if it's the leader, you're thinking that guy battling to stay on the lead lap, he's in the wrong. But as that guy that's about to go lap down, you think you're doing everything right to stay on that lead lap, which you are, but it's just a tale of 2 perspectives. But Jenks has now gotten back in front of Chandler.
And we're coming to about halfway through this race.
Yep,
lap
completion
55.
of this lap will be the halfway mark. So things just getting ready to heat up here as Abar, Don Francisco round out your top 10.
Everyone's getting kind of spread out here. Not too many battles over the track. They're just kind of running, nose to tail. I think the biggest battle right here is the 20, the 7, and the 51 out in the back of the field, trying to get around each other here.
Right now, Chandler in second, Abar in 10th. Are your 2 Toyotas in the top 10? Well, you've got 6 Chevys and 2 Fords making out the rest of your top 10. So the Chevys definitely looking like the strong manufacturer of tonight here at Kansas. Whoa, big move by Jenks.
Oh.
Crossover move by Chandler. Side by side at the line. That was tight. And Chandler goes back to the lead here on 57.
Yeah, a lot of great racing back and forth, great battle, but also a lot of respect between these guys, giving each other room. It's also just hard racing. And then same thing a little bit further back with Tuck and Norman. Norman's running him down. And 81 getting almost into the back of the 1 there.
Yep, let's go ahead and jump inside the cockpit of that 81 truck. Apparently we're on Chandler. There we go. This 81's going to go to the outside looking. We talked about it. You got to find a different groove to get past the guy in front of you. They're going to be side by side out of 2.
A lot of momentum off of turn 2, and he's going to clear the 1 going into 3.
Yes, he is. Now Chandler saw that. He's going to try his hand on the high line. Not as high. Well, that's going to hurt the momentum a little bit. Maybe having to jump out of the gas there. I'm not sure. But the 81 with a power move on that inside. But, yeah, you mentioned it. Norman running down Tuck. Well, he is there.
Yeah, he's been slowly reeling him in, and he's running a little bit higher than Tuck. Just trying to carry more momentum through the turn. And he's been reeling him in slowly but surely, and they're catching David now.
Whoop, definitely the wrong camera there. Did not mean to go to the pit lane camera. But let's go ahead and watch your top four now in a single file line go through the trial here to click over to lap 58 of 110. The front four, folks, bumper to bumper. Things are just heating up here in Kansas.
Yeah, Tuck had a lift.
Big save by Norman.
Yeah, Tuck had a lift coming out of 2, and I could see that coming. He got really tight off of 2 there, and Norman takes advantage, goes around him on the inside, and back to the top through 3 and 4. Now has to run down David and Jenks.
Yeah, it almost looks like Tuck is starting to struggle a little bit. He had the lift right there coming out of 4. So, you know, it looks like the 25 starting to maybe look like maybe he pushed it a little too early, too hard. And now he's starting to maybe fall off a little bit, just over a second behind your leader, Jenks, who's now starting to pull away a little bit from Chandler, just under half a second.
Yeah, Tuck back into the wall in 3 and 4. I think he's getting just tight. I think he probably used up the right front more than these other guys and just pushing too hard, and now he's fading, and getting in the wall did not help.
Not at all. But if you're Jenks, Chandler, Norman, that's exactly what you want to see, because obviously Matt has got a very fast truck. I mean, you don't grab the pole for nothing, you know, so Matt, clearly, definitely a strong contender here at Kansas. Very confident in this track, but now just over 2 seconds back. Kelsey, in his return, just over 4 seconds back behind the leader in 5th. Well, Nick, I think it's about time to go through the field here. Things are starting to spread out a little bit, so let's go ahead and let's go through your NEXXTCAR field, starting off with Brendan Jenks, the 81 Chevy Silverado, the Milwaukee Tools. We've talked about him several times, Nick. 3 times this season in 6 races, he's found himself the victory lane.
Yeah, he's such a strong driver, and another strong run here. And he's been battling David most of the race, and now he's going to probably have to deal with Norman shortly. And these guys have been 1-2 most of this season. He's had one of the strongest trucks week in and week out.
David Chandler, definitely having a strong run from Gainesville, Florida, in that #1 Bud Light Platinum Toyota Tundra, running that high line, trying to find a way back in front of the 81. But Chandler has led a couple of laps tonight. He's definitely looking like he's going to be a contender here in these final 50 laps of the race here at Kansas.
Yeah, I can definitely tell. He got a lot of momentum coming off of 3 and 4 that time, and he's reeling in Jenks back in. Now, he's had strong runs this season, and he's up there in points too. So definitely a strong truck. He got a win in the short track series a few weeks back. Not a lot of drivers, but he's had really strong runs in the series that he does run in. So not surprising to see him up front.
Ronnie Norman from Terre Haute, Indiana. We talked about him. It was a surprise to see him start so far back. In the first opening laps of this race, he was running back there, but he has really turned this race around in the pit strategies era. But running in that top 3 here in 3rd in that FanDuel Ford F-150.
Yeah, it surprised me with him starting so far back, especially track like Kansas, but now he's falling back from the leaders a little bit. I don't know if he got into the wall or what, but no, it doesn't surprise me that he's figuring it out and running up front. I think he did win Kansas last year. I know in truck or in cup rather, but he's always strong week in and week out. It doesn't surprise me that he's up front running for another win.
Matt Tucker coming to pit road this time. Just as we clicked on his name from Anderson, Indiana, he is going to pull that number 25 W Energy Chevy Silverado down onto pit road. He is going to be your first guy to come to pit road in this pit cycle, Nick. We talked about it. About lap 68 is when those guys that pitted back on lap in the 30s were going to have to come down. Well, Tucker, the first one to take advantage of it. So now this is going to be interesting as we're going to go ahead and pause our through the field here. This is going to be interesting to see just where those 4 fresh tires get him out. And can he jump Norman and possibly Chandler?
Yeah, that part is interesting, but I think he's going to be short on fuel. Pitting that early, I think he just knew his right front was gone and he was losing ground, so he came in early. He's going to be either right on the number or he's going to be short. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier about when these front guys pit, because the guys that are trapped a lap down, basically 15th on back, that are just in front of leaders or a lap down, have the advantage of, they have the extra laps on fuel and they can make it with only one stop. He might have to come back down.
Yeah, and in the midst of the pit cycle, the battle for the lead heating up. Chandler gets back in front of the 81. Not exactly sure how, but now Chandler almost up into the outside. 1 through 3 and 4. He's going to have to lift. That's going to open up the door once again for the 81, but the battles continue here on lap 70. 40 laps to go. Now, when do these guys come down pit road? Chandler last on pit road on lap 36. Jenks, lap 35. Norman, lap 38. So the pit window is open for all 3 of those guys. Who's going to be the first one to make the move besides Matt Tucker?
Yeah, I think they want to try to get to 75. But even then, that's putting them at 35 laps. They'll be good to go from there, I think. If they're running 35 to 38 laps on fuel. So it's going to be interesting. See when they come down and see if they can make it. I think Tucker pitted a little bit early to try to make up ground, but not sure exactly how many laps of fuel they're getting.
I don't know, but the 81 and the 1 clearly not worried about saving any type of fuel. Here comes the 81 of Jenks. He's coming to pit road this time. Norman stays out. I thought for sure as soon as Norman saw Jenks or Chandler go on a pit road, he would going to come and match it, but he's going to stay out. Now, Chandler, Norman, which one comes in next? Thomas stays out. Last time he pitted was lap 35. He is on the oldest tires in the field in that number 5.
Chandler's coming down now.
And that's going to hand the lead over to Norman as Toby Kelsey, we mentioned it earlier, making his return in at number 33, finding himself in second amidst the pit cycle.
Hey, he's run down Norman. He's really quick right now.
And that's something that Toby prides himself on. We've known Toby for a very long time, all the way back from the Heat era of NEXXTCAR. And then here on iRacing, back when I first got iRacing and me and Toby were running, practices and stuff together, that is something Toby prides himself on. And you are seeing 2 of the best at it right now battle. And that is saving tires. I don't know how they do it. That is an art of racing I have got to get figured out if I'm going to have any success. But
we got into the wall there.
Yeah, you did. But that is something that Toby and Norman are both great at. And that is something that I know for sure Toby prides himself on. Norman down on that white line. Toby back up into the wall through 3 and 4. Norman coming to pit road.
Yeah, so Norman will have coming to 76, so he's going to be 34 laps to the end. He should make it on fuel. Jenks is probably good on fuel too. Chandler, I think the only one that might be short is that 25 of Tucker right now.
Absolutely. And, he's one of those guys right now that is definitely wanting a caution, because if a caution comes out, well, that changes everything for these guys.
Right.
That pit strategy goes right out the window. But, excuse me, got a lot of fans in the chats for the Larson father-son duo, so that's cool to see. The Larsons out there getting some love. Right now, we've got 349 viewers between Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Absolutely love to see it, guys. Keep it up in the return to NEXXTCAR booth broadcast for the Truck Series. But Kelsey, just under a 5-second lead over to Luck. Kelsey last pitted on lap 44 to Luck, Abar, J.D. Larson, Bocock, and Ronnie Martin all pitted on lap 45. So those guys are good to go for a couple more laps, then come down, get that fuel for fresh tires, and they will be good to make it to the end. But now, you know, we saw Kelsey get into that outside wall a little bit, Nick. Well, that last time when Norman came down to pit, Kelsey from Elizabethtown, Indiana, he got into that outside wall pretty hard there.
Yeah, I did see that. I was watching Norman, and just in the corner of my eye, I saw that 33 get into the outside wall, and surprised to see him still out right now. I would expect him to come in shortly.
Tucker going around the leader of Kelsey. Those are teammates. Not only are they teammates, Tucker is the team captain of the Blue Collar Racing team. Kelsey slow. Not sure if he's coming to pit road or tires. He's trying to come to pit road, trying to lock it up. He's going to lock up the right front. Is he going to meet the commitment cone? He will, but the 7 did not. I'm not sure if you saw that, but the 7 sitting sideways, David Smith at the entrance of pit road, unable to meet the commitment cone. He's going to get it refired. He had to throw it into reverse there for a minute, but the 7 finally going to get onto pit road. But we were talking about Tucker getting his lap back the hard way, getting up there and passing Kelsey right before he made that pit road. But even Kelsey, one of the veterans of NEXXTCAR and iRacing, a very rare error for Kelsey coming to pit road. We talked about it, Nick. This pit road, it's challenging. Is it going to play a factor in deciding the outcome of this race? Well, Kelsey has just found out just how challenging this pit road entrance is.
Yeah, we said it earlier that someone was probably going to get bitten with it coming down pit road. So unfortunately, tried pushing it a little too hard coming down pit road, and round he went.
And you have to. When the racing is as good as we are seeing right now as Bolanders on pit road, as good as the racing we have seen, where do you make up spots when you can't pass people on the track? On pit road, whether that's getting on pit road, getting off of pit road, the distance of pit road, the pit box. You've got to make up for it on pit road. That's where you're going to pass people. And you mentioned it, Toby just pushing it a little too hard, a little too extra, and he got bit by it. So Kelsey now back in the 9th position as your leader. Alberto Abar is going to give up that 8-second lead he had over J.D. Larson, and he is going to come down and make his final pit stop unless we get a caution of the night here on lap 82 of 110. 37 laps to go this time. I'm sorry, 27. That Ohio math education really showing through there. But 27 laps to go this time.
And Matt Tucker assuming the lead right now, but still fuel is a question. He's got a 3.5-second lead on Ronnie Norman. Ronnie Norman kind of leapfrogs David Chandler and Jenks with the pit stops.
Now, if my math is correct on this one, he last pitted on lap 67, which I know that's a fact. He is going to have to push it 43 laps on fuel to make it to the end. The most we have seen these guys do was Christopher Thomas in that first stint went 39 laps. That's the longest we have seen. So he possibly maybe right on the dot, or he may be just about 2 or 3, maybe even 4 laps short. He has got to be worried about saving fuel right now. But I know two guys that aren't worried about it. The two guys behind him battling for second, Norman, Chandler, and Jenks right there with him.
Yeah, Norman's coming at a good clip right now. He's running about a second quicker, and he's running him down pretty quick. Probably in the next, 10 laps or so, he was probably going to catch him. And then I'm just wondering if he's saving anything or if he's just running as hard as he can and he's hoping for a caution.
Let's jump on the gearbox here. Ronnie Norman looking back at the 1 of David Chandler with the 20 right behind him. The 20 is a lap down. That is Cole Larson. So mixing it up here with the guys in second, third, and fourth, looking back at them. But yeah, I mean, excuse me. Yeah, the biggest story right now has got to be that 25. Does he have enough fuel in the tank to make it the rest of the way? That lead, though, well, it has cut down significantly. You can see Tucker trying to obviously, clearly save fuel. That lead was just over 3 seconds, Nick. Well, now it's down to 1.68.
Yeah, he pitted so earlier than everyone else, too. I don't know if he is saving a little bit here and there or if it's just that's the difference in tire.
And that very well could be the tire. I didn't really think about that. I mean, yeah, he pitted, Norman pitted on lap 75, Chandler was 73, and Jenks was 72. So he pitted 6 laps prior to Jenks, and then he was 9 laps prior to Norman in second. So, yeah, I mean, we talked about earlier, 9 laps did not seem like that big of a fact or like that big of a difference. But that means everything here in racing, especially at a track like Kansas where it is so slick, you're flying. This is a bad, fast track.
Yeah, I think some of it's probably him saving a little bit here and there, and I think a lot of it's probably tire. He's much slower than the 6, and they're catching him really quick now.
Someone I want to point out real quick, definitely did not get the race start that he wanted to, but the 9 of Brandon Dunford last pitted on lap 71. So right there with everybody else in the pit cycle, well, he has cracked the top 10. He used that fast repair. That is a brand new, beautiful number 9 Hooters Toyota Tundra. Well, now Dunford back inside the top 10. Like I said, he did not get the start to this race that anybody wants. Well, he's got a little bit of damage to the right side of that truck, so he scuffed the wall at some point, but he is cracked back inside the top 10, 19 and a half seconds behind your leader of Norman, who has just taken the lead over Tuck, but Tuck not backing down. 20 laps to go in the NEXXTCAR Truck Series here at Kansas. Now Chandler, all over the back bumper of the 25 of Tuck. Jenks getting held up by a little bit of lap traffic there. Steve Bocock and the 20 of Cole Larson. Bocock not having a great race either. He is the first car, 1 lap down in the 14th position. But now, still all over the back bumper. Everything tight for second. Tuck goes to the outside. 12 not on the lead lap. He is on fresh tires. Now getting up there, mixing it on the inside of Chandler in the 1. Heading down the backstretch. 18 to go this time. And this is exactly what Norman wants to see. Or is his competition behind him battling side by side and with others.
Yeah, some difficulties trying to get through lap traffic for the 81. Now you have a slower car in Tuck, and then you have the 51 and the 12 just kind of holding them up, and now he's falling a little bit back. Part of me is wondering if it's just the traffic that's holding them up, or is he saving tire for later? And Ronnie Norman's just running like he stole it right now.
Oh, absolutely. And, this goes back to the whole conversation we had, 50 laps ago of lap traffic battling with the leaders. 17 laps to go. You know, it was a big topic, I believe, last week with Larson.
Yep.
It was a huge topic last week. Closing laps, battling with the leaders. Well, now is where that, you know, we've talked about it's a tale of two perspectives. Well, now is where that perspective kind of starts to change. You know, 17 laps to go. Do you battle with the leaders as hard as you would with, say, 50 to go, 60 to go? Or do you, you know, you mentioned it, racers respect.
Yeah.
Now is where you kind of need to maybe race with a little more respect for those leaders. I'm not saying that Bocock and Cool or Larson are out there racing disrespectfully. That is absolutely not what I'm saying. But now is the time where you got to think, all right, let me just get out of the way of the leaders with coming to 15 to go this time. Let them, you know, battle it out for the win. You know, now Norman has taken full advantage of it. He has opened up a 1 second lead, just under 1 second over Chandler. And now he's got the 51 to his inside. So he's now battling those lap traffic trucks on fresh tires.
Yeah, those lap trucks, 9 on the apron. I think he just came out.
Dunford just came off pit road.
Yeah. But the 12 and the 51 have every right to battle Norman for getting their lap back and stay on the lead lap in case there is a caution to come out. You know, you want to try to stay in front of that leader and kind of play that Ryan Newman role of just giving everyone a hard time trying to pass you. But no, Ronnie, he has a good sized lead right now. And I think he noticed that, and he doesn't want to give too much time back, but I think there's a time and place to give lap traffic a hard time. And I think he saw they were probably a little quicker and let him go. And he's still pulling away from Chandler right now. But yeah, I think it's a tough game to play of whether, when to push. And obviously those guys that are close to a lap down are going to give you a hard time. They want to stay on the lead lap.
You know, we talked about, individuals that were improving week after week. Well, one of the guys that I mentioned, Alberto Abar, he's in the 8th position, but he has ran your fastest lap of the race, a 30.90. 30.90. The next guy on the list is Chandler with a 30.96. But Alberto Abar has put down your fastest lap of the race. But Alberto, one of those guys, along with Steve Bocock, who invested in a brand new direct drive wheel here in these last 2 weeks. So, obviously that's playing its factor here. Steve's still trying to get used to his and everything. He's on the tail end of the lead lap in the 13th position. We just talked about him battling it with the leaders to stay on the lead lap if a caution was to come out. But Norman coming to 10 laps to go, Nick. Well, he has opened that lead up to 2 seconds over Chandler.
Yeah, obviously there's no fuel saving right now. He's running hard and trying to get away from that one truck. Opening it up now, and Jenks is kind of coming back to the one, and Kelsey, no, he's not that far behind those two, but he's pretty much got a 3.5 second deficit between him and Norman. It's usually when the 6 truck comes alive is at the end of the race. He figures it out, and he'll run up front by the end of it, if not all the race. So it does not surprise me to see this 6 truck in the lead with 10 laps to go.
Yeah, and things really starting to heat up for that second position. Jenks and Chandler, it seems like those guys have battled the entire race, bumper to bumper, side by side. Well, with 9 laps to go, they continue to battle. Chandler leading the way in second, with Jenks now looking to his inside off of 2. Chandler sideways coming off of 2. Jenks not able to take advantage of it, but closes that gap just ever so slightly heading into 3. Chandler up against the wall.
Yeah, and Kelsey's about a second away from them now. Kind of reeling them in slowly, and Tuck running in 5th with Tulloch, 8 seconds behind him. So I'm anxious to see if this 25 can make it, and if he's going to come down.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Tuck, I mean, you've got 8 seconds between yourself and Tulloch in 6th. 8 seconds, that's a big gap. Oh, Tuck's coming to pit road. The 25 could not make it on fuel with 7 laps to go. Has to bring that 25 Chevy down to pit road. It's going to be a splash and go for him. But heartbreak for the 25. Tucker having to give up that top 5. Well, we talked about it, Nick. He came in early. Yeah. Was he going to have enough? I said he was about probably 3 or 4 laps short. Well, he was about 6 or 7 short. So heartbreak for that 25 here to come out of here. Your pole sitter, but not going to be able to be in contention to grab that checkered flag here in this one. Now, 1 lap down.
Yeah, he had obviously one of the fastest trucks. He was top 5 most of the race, and I don't know if he was trying to make up some ground, and I don't know exactly why he came down so early the last run. But coming in that early left him a little short. I don't know if he was banking on a caution to try to make up some ground, but obviously didn't play out, and lost big time. Now running 13th a lap down.
Yes, absolutely. 5 laps to go here. The battle continues. Really heating up now. Kelsey coming up to the back bumper of Jenks in front of him. We talked about it. Kelsey, one of the best in the business at saving tires. Well, here he is in that number 33 McLaren Grills Chevy Silverado. Now, closing in on 2nd place. Side by side, the 1 and the 81 heading into turn number 1. 1 inside, 81 outside. 33 goes to the outside as well. He's going to have a big run on Chandler coming out of turn number 2. Chandler's going to cover that hole, though, but here comes Kelsey.
Yeah, Kelsey also pitted, quite a few laps after.
6
they did,
lap
so
difference.
He's got a little bit fresher tires, along with, probably saving a little bit. 81's good at saving too, but 33's got a little bit fresher ones right now, and he's gonna. Wouldn't surprise me if he took both these positions away in the closing laps.
You mentioned it. Fresher tires. 6 lap difference over Chandler. 7 laps over Jenks. So, yeah, the 33 of Kelsey should be able to possibly make good work. But we mentioned it. These drivers, it's one thing to catch them. It's a completely another thing to pass them. But now Kelsey looking to get that big run off that high line. But Chandler taking the short way around the front stretch here on that apron. They're going to be side by side heading through 1 and 2. Yeah, 2 laps left.
You could just see the momentum on the high side from the 33, and he just gets in the gas so much
in the wall.
sooner. That's going to let the 33 come up right to the back bumper, and you can see him get back into the gas way quicker than the 1 and the 81. He's going to have a lot of momentum coming off of turn 4.
Yes, sir. White flag in the air presented by HVAC Designs here at Kansas Speedway for Ronnie Norman. Looking to head to victory lane for the 2nd time this season. He's got some lap traffic in front of him. Not going to be a factor down this backstretch. He's going to lead them through turns 3 and 4 for the final time tonight. 3.6 second lead for the 2nd time this season. He did it at Auto Club. Well, now he's going to do it at Kansas. Let's jump to 2nd place side by side, but Nick Jenks is going to hold on for 2nd.
Yeah, 81 blocked the 33's run going in turn 1 on the last lap, and Toby had to check up a little bit and slowed his momentum down, and it basically was the difference in him grabbing 2nd. But great run, great battle between those 3 drivers.
We talked about the respect earlier between the 1 and the 81. Will you see the 81 bump, or I'm sorry, the 1 bumping the 81 down the backstretch, showing his respect with Jenks there. You mentioned it. He's going to turn him. But You mentioned it, the respect between those guys. Well, they definitely showed it tonight. They raced, I swear, side by side, bumper to bumper for about 109 of those 110 laps tonight. Not any contact, no wrecking, and it was beautiful racing by Norman Jenks Kelsey Chandler tonight. Oh, watch out, who just flew by at 170 mile an hour? Watch out, Norman.
A great run by that 6 truck. Another win for Fifth Gear Racing. And just really strong outing. 81 running second for Fifth Gear. So a lot of good team points tonight for us. And we'll take another win. Really great run. Doesn't surprise me that the 6 was up front at the end of the race. He's so strong, saving tire and the fuel strategy and being there at the end is a strong suit. So good win on this 6 truck.
Absolutely. He earned it. There is no doubt about it. Still burning it down here at Kansas. He absolutely earned this win, folks. No doubt about it. We talked about it. The Jenks came in and has pretty much put Norman on the back burner here in season 3. But Norman, well, he's showing, hey, don't forget about me. I might be only running 1 series now, but I'm still the top dog possibly here in the truck series. Don't ever count me out.
He's been running an Xfinity too, so I'm not sure if he's still running it, but he's been strong in that series for a few weeks there. And I haven't seen him in a few weeks, but it's been, he's been strong in every series that he runs, and he's one to look out for.
Absolutely. Let's get your race results up for tonight. Norman grabbing his 2nd win of the season. Jenks, Kelsey, Chandler, Tulloch rounding out your top 5. Abar, Schultz, Don Francisco, J.D. Larson, Thomas rounding out your top 10. And then Nick, take it from 11th on down to 20th.
Steve Henning with a good run in 11th. Steve Bocock, 12th. Matt Tucker dropping down to 13th. Andrew Bolander, 14th. Dunford, 15th. Ronnie Martin, 16th. Robert Asong, 17th. David Smith, 18th.
Cole Larson, 19th, with Dustin Bloodworth rounding out your top 20. And then Cole Owens going to round out the field 4 laps down in the 21st position. Well, folks, don't go anywhere, because we are going to be right back to bring you the post-race interviews from the NEXXTCAR Truck Series drivers here at Kansas. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Yeah. Everybody knows that I'm breaking down. Everybody knows I ain't faking now. Everybody knows my heart's vacant now. Yeah, she hates me now. I made mistakes, but now I don't ever wanna be alone. I don't really ever feel at home. On my own, in the zone. That's the only way I know. Feeling low, about to blow back up. Here I won't ever let the doubt creep in. Gotta pop a couple more aspirin. I don't think I'll ever let you in. Easier to break it off best friends. I don't really understand myself. I don't really understand, need help. I don't wanna be left on the shelf. Couldn't even hear me if I yelled. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone. It's so cold outside. Always feel like I could break now, but I never let it take me to that place now. I won't ever let my thoughts get away now. I got better things to do, picking fate now. I just wanna be the best, call me great now. I don't know if I'm okay or insane now. I remember better days on the playground, hoping I can find my way to even when I'm feeling down. I fight, even when I don't know what is right. I'ma pick a side, and I'ma take pride. I will decide my fate, and I will never let them tell me who I am. If you try to shake me, I'll be damned. Planet on the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone. Girl, you got me shook from the way your body looks. Got me riding hooks, got me feeling like a rook. I don't do it by the book, but for you I'll take a look. Don't know what your mama took, sweet and spicy like a cook, yeah. I'll keep it real, let's make a deal. Buy you a meal if you just let me feel. Get out your heels, grab on the wheel. Back to my place at the top of the hill. Don't have regrets, I know what's next. She need a fresh, I'll be back in a sec. Look at them legs, don't make me beg. Back to the room, let me show you my bed. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. I could look at you all day, watch the way them hips sway. Love your body, so I pray, don't you dare take it away. Can't control what I say, lost my mind cause your frame. Hey girl, what's your name? Lit me up just like a flame. Body in motion, I feel the commotion, be on you like lotion. I'm honest and broken, I flow like the ocean. I feel you were chosen to fix me, I'm broken. My heart that you stolen, hey. Stay with me, play with me, lay with me. Hate to see when you leave, chemistry feels like it's destiny. I just want you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the post-race interviews from the NEXXTCAR Truck Series here at Kansas Speedway. What a race we just saw. An absolute beautiful of a race. One caution for 4 laps tonight. And after 110 laps of racing, Ronnie Norman, you are going to find yourself heading to victory lane for the second time this season.
Hell yeah, buddy. It feels good. Definitely came down to fuel strategy. I don't know if you were watching when I stayed out those extra 4 or so laps when everybody pitted. That wasn't really by design. I just kind of winged it, and it happened to work out pretty good for me because I needed those extra laps to help me get to the end of this race with the fuel strategy. So I know Brendan and David and Matt all really had really strong trucks tonight, and then Toby there in the end. I think Toby caught up to me there right before I pitted, and I knew that he could stay out longer, so I knew he was going to be fine once he pitted again. But no, luckily the fuel strategy worked out. We were able to get us another win here, take one away from Brendan, my teammate. But no, it was a fun race. Didn't qualify very good this race, which I haven't been qualifying well at all here the past couple of weeks. So hopefully we can get something figured out. But starting P9, I enjoy Kansas. It's one of my favorite tracks, so I knew we were going to be able to get it up front at some point. And we did, and here we are in victory lane.
Oh, absolutely. You know, Nick and I mentioned it during the broadcast tonight. You did not qualify very well at all. And in those first, 10, 15 laps, even after the caution, you know, you still stayed back there. Well, we knew at some point the Ronnie Norman of last season was going to show up, but you mentioned it, taking one from your teammate Brendan Jenks. You two now the only two drivers this season to have multiple wins. Obviously, Brendan has his 3. You have yours from Auto Club and now here at Kansas. So you two showing that it is possibly going to be a huge battle this season, the longest season in NEXXTCAR history, and you two, things are just starting to heat up between you guys.
Oh yeah, with him joining the league this year, it really made everybody have to strap their belts in and be ready to race week in and week out. So just with with Matt coming out and getting the pole, he's been showing really strong speed the past couple weeks. So with him doing that and running good, everybody's in here really fast, and you just got to be on your A game for sure. And like I said, luckily we were able to come to the front. But it was sketchy here and there. But I mean, a really clean race. Really good look with everybody in here running. Like I said, I think we had 1 caution, so that was a really fun race to run, and probably was fun to broadcast at the same time.
Oh, absolutely! It was a great race to get back up here and do the broadcast with. It was a great race all in all. But congrats on your 2nd win of the season, leading 25 laps en route to it.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, just congrats to Brennan on 2nd and Toby bringing her home on the podium spot there. So great run by everybody, and we'll see. I think next week's the All-Star race, so we'll be interested to come back here and run next week.
Absolutely, yes, sir. Moving on to your 2nd place finisher, Brendan Jenks. What's going on, man?
Oh, not much. It's been a pretty good night so far.
I hear you. I don't think I've had the pleasure of talking to you here in the NEXXTCAR Truck Series. So, you've been off to a fantastic start. 3 wins in the first 6 races. Well, tonight, you could see the leader, but had nothing for him in those closing laps. You led 16 laps tonight, but finishing 2nd. Walk us through your race.
It started off pretty good. I knew I could qualify a little bit better than I did, so that was kind of frustrating. I mean, starting P3 is not bad, but I knew I had a little bit more there, so it was kind of a struggle at the beginning. I wanted to get to the lead, but obviously everyone wanted to be up there. And I think I pit after whoever pit first on that first green flag run kind of pulled me in. I should have stayed out a few more laps to be good on fuel, but I ended up running with, I think, just under half a tank or half a lap on that last lap there. So just barely made it.
Absolutely. So 3 wins in the first 6 races, now in the first 7 races. You heard Norman talk about it. You guys are now the only multi-winners this season. What kind of momentum heading into the All-Star race and into the second half of the season? I mean, this is the longest season we've ever had in NEXXTCAR. What kind of momentum do you have built up with those 3 wins?
I feel like I have quite a bit of momentum build up. Both me and Ronnie have kind of been going back and forth with each other, and me having the 3 and him having the 2, we kind of just been fighting back and forth. And I know he's kind of the person I want to beat the most, being my teammate, and I know I'm sure he feels the same. So we've been having fun. We've been kind of just, like I said, going back and forth, and I think going into this All-Star race, it'll be a lot of fun between the 2 of us, and hopefully we get some more challenges up there like we did tonight. It was really cool seeing a lot of different people up front.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Well, congrats on that 2nd place finish tonight.
Thank you.
Moving on to your 3rd place finisher, Toby Kelsey. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Ronnie?
Not much, man. Coming out with a 3rd place finish here in that number 33, a brand new number for you. Well, you dropped that 33 with a 3rd place finish here tonight.
Yes, sir. Just started in the back with Andrew, just taking it easy on the first few laps. There was that early caution there, and we ended up pitting, not taking tires or anything. We took fuel, so you could make it on 2 stops after that. There were some people that didn't stay out, and I think that gave us the advantage of staying out those extra long laps. But then on that 2nd run, we was actually able to run Ronnie down. So, but I kind of ended up hitting the wall. After that, was just trying to finish the night, come up there on, I believe it was Chandler and Jinx, and Jinx was able to hold me off. That was pretty good racing between them 2. Overall, good night and good racing here in the NEXXTCAR League.
Absolutely. You mentioned it, the battle between Jenks and Chandler. I swear they ran bumper to bumper, side by side for 109 of those 110 laps. Those guys put on a heck of a battle. And when you joined it, well, that battle got even greater. And you mentioned it. You got up into that outside wall there battling with Norman there for a minute. But how much did that affect your truck once you got in that wall? Because when he came down to pit road on that final pit stop, it looked like you made some pretty good contact with that outside wall out of 4.
It really didn't affect it much. I was just scraping it. Honestly, it didn't give me an X or anything. Nothing on my screen so far looked like there was damage on the right side. Usually you hit the wall and you got right side damage.
Mm-hmm.
See it on the screen, but I really couldn't see anything. It just there at the end it did kind of get really tight though when I got up there the Jinx, but that's probably because we was all battling pretty hard.
Yes, sir. Well, congrats on that 3rd place finish, buddy.
Appreciate you. Glad you're back, Ronnie.
Oh, it feels great to be back. Thank you. David Chandler, you led the most laps tonight. Well, you just could not quite get that number 1 to victory lane here tonight. But 4th place finish after starting 5th, it don't get much better in consistency than that.
Yeah, Ronnie, pretty excited to have a top 5. Definitely was hungry for a win tonight. I really thought that I could get there. A little disappointing that I couldn't, but overall, man, I had a lot of fun battling with Brendan there the entire race. And pit strategy kind of went a little south. I came out, I think I was a lap short on gas, so I had to do a little bit of savings, which got me into the green. But unfortunately, I couldn't bring her home, man. Lap cars got in the way, and it was done from there. Ronnie got a nice little pull out on ahead and, set sail.
Yep, and that was going to be my next question. In those closing laps, how much did that lap traffic affect you? Because from our point of view, it was the determining factor in the outcome of this race.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I definitely, as soon as they kind of got around me, they started side drafting me and pulling me back. Whereas before they had gotten to me, I was slowly creeping in on Ronnie, getting real close. I think I was maybe at one point like 3 car lengths away from him. But they joined the fray, and they managed to get ahead of me with their newer tires. And I was hoping they would just kind of set sail and get away from Ronnie as well. But they kind of hung out with him there as well. And every time they kind of go into the bottom, which is where I was running all night, they would throw dirty air on me, and I was just washing up the track and eating my tires up. And yeah, unfortunately, that's just how things go in racing. And you never know.
Absolutely. You mentioned it. That's how racing goes. But yeah, great strong run for you tonight, and started 5th and finishing 4th. Congrats on that one.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. We'll keep digging.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. And another guy needs to keep on digging. Paint to luck. And that number 17. Well, you had a great outcome to this race. Started 18th. Well, you brought home that 17 Chevy in 5th. I'm sorry, Toyota. What do you drive? Toyota? Chevy?
A Chevy. Come on now.
I don't know. Your picture's a Toyota on my screen. And the NEXXTCAR, like how it has the picture.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's why I thought you drove a Chevy, but it's a Toyota truck. Anyway, congrats on the outcome. 18th up to 5th. You led 2 laps tonight. Definitely had a strong truck after the second half of that race.
Yeah, first, before I get started, I just want to welcome back, Ronnie. We've all missed you, and it's awesome having you back here for all these races. But yeah, tonight was an interesting race for me, to say the least. I mean, I got here late, kind of usual for me, and then had an update. Had to finish real quick. Literally got in the race session like a minute and a half before the green flag. So no laps and on the track before the first green flag. So first like third of a race, I'm just sitting back there learning. I mean, there was a point where I was last in this race, and just kind of figured out what I was doing, remembering the track a bit, and drove my way all the way to 5th. So I'll 100% take that. I'm not a huge fan of this track. I did not have good results here in previous seasons. So 5th is an absolute win for me tonight. But yeah, honored to have Bent Creek Kennels on the truck tonight. Looked real pretty. Hit them up if you're looking for a lab puppy. And yeah, that's all I got to say.
Absolutely, man. Well, congrats on another top 5 here tonight.
Thank you, man.
2 more guys I want to talk to. That 6th place finisher. We talked about it, Nick and I, multiple times tonight. And drivers improving week after week, season after season. Well, maybe, and this is absolutely no shot at you, Alberto, by any means, but maybe no one in this league has improved as much as you have from your first season to where we are now. You grabbed the fastest lap tonight with a 30.896. Along with that, a 6th place finish.
Yeah, man, I've been improving a lot since last season, and especially I bought this new wheel, and man, it helps me keep the car straighter. And I'm just learning the track and learning everybody's driving style, and yeah, man, I appreciate it. And I did put the fastest lap, but that was halfway the race.
It was too, right there on lap 49. So walk us through. What has been the biggest reason for your improvement? I know you just mentioned it, the new wheel, learning the track. What has contributed most to this?
Yeah, man. I'm really racing a little bit more now. I have a little bit more time, so I'm racing almost every night and watching everybody's line. I'm trying to follow, try to improve my braking, my gas, and man, it's just practice. It's not from night to day, but it's fun. This league is huge fun. Is it's just good hangout for everybody.
Absolutely, man. And we appreciate that. And definitely you had a great race tonight from 7th to 6th. So congrats on that. And, you battled your teammates quite a bit tonight. You battled Peyton a little bit. You were mixing it up there with Steve. So the ADR team, well, you might be teammates, but that ain't keeping you all from racing hard. And it is absolutely great to see. So congrats on that 6th place finish.
Shit.
And then the last guy we want to talk to, I'm pretty sure he knows this interview is coming. That number 25 truck, Matt Tucker. Man, once again, we heard, Ronnie Norman mention it. Pit strategy worked out for him. Well, it did not work out for you.
No, not really. But you know what? That's, I guess, just how it goes sometimes. So it's fun to be up front, but in the end, I'll take my top 15 and move on 2 weeks. So,
Did you
but
know?
it was okay. It was okay.
Did you know you were short when you made that
Oh,
pit stop? Did you know you were going to be short?
No, I wasn't. I mean, I knew that what I was thinking was everybody else had to pit. So that's why I was pitting at that time, and I forgot about the guys that had pitted with Toby's group and Alberto and all them that pitted that underneath that first caution, so they had a little bit more gas. So forgot about that. So mental error, but yeah. So I was just trying to short pit and try to catch back up to the guys ahead of me and maybe try to get out ahead of them. So that's what I was trying to bank on, was that, and then I would end up being about 9 laps short after I pitted, and then I had to pit with 5 to go, something like that. So ended up being 5 laps short. So live and you learn. So, but it was fun being up front. Brendan and David and Norman. So we all were having good clean battles the whole race, and we only had 1 caution. That'd probably be a new NEXXTCAR record, with the least amount of cautions in a race was the 1. So I can't remember, but good to have you back. Good to have everybody supporting. So we'll move on to next week.
Absolutely. Next week, we are off. It will be an all-star race, so no points paying race. But yeah, you mentioned it, not the race you wanted in 13th, but you will take it and move on. Bristol, that's going to be another challenging race for these drivers. There is no doubt about it. Last season, it definitely provided its very interesting races. But let's go ahead and check out your point standings here after race number 7 of 16 here in Kansas. Excuse me. Ronnie Norman is going to take over the points lead with 251 points after his second win, 5 top 5s and 7 top 10s. Jenks is going to be in second, 19 points behind him. And then David Chandler, Nicholas Dunfrancisco, and Brandon Dunford going to wrap up your top 5. But folks, that was a fantastic race that we just witnessed here at Kansas. Still trying to recover from this cold, but Kansas once again provided some great racing here in the NEXXTCAR Truck Series. But that is going to do it for me and Nick here in the booth broadcast for the NEXXTCAR Truck Series. It feels great to be back. It's been a long 3 months without being able to be up here in the broadcast, but we are back, and I cannot wait for next week with the All-Star race. I think we got a little bit something special up our sleeve for these Truck Series drivers, so that is going to be interesting. So make sure you tune in next Sunday, and then the following week, in 2 weeks, well, these drivers are heading to the short track of Bristol Motor Speedway. But definitely a race you are not going to want to miss. But I will catch you guys next week when these drivers head back to battle it out on the track. Enjoy the rest of your week, and good night, everybody.